So, how many of you are familiar with the flow, just by a show of hands? Okay, not everyone raised their hand, but that's fine. Everyone knows what the flow is, or actually, everyone's experienced the flow at some point in their life. It's the zone. It's when you get in the zone. Everyone in here is some sort of creator, some type, and even if all you do is create sandwiches, you understand what it takes to put something together. And the reason I say everyone has experienced the flow at some point is because, see if this sounds familiar to you. You're totally immersed in what you're doing. You're in the zone. Time doesn't exist anymore. It could go really fast or it could go really slow. It doesn't matter. A sense of yourself is gone. You're not conscious of yourself. That commentary that's going on in your head is not talking to you about what you're doing. You're just doing it, right? Does this sound familiar? You're completely immersed in your activity. And for those who, now, by show of hands, who's been in the flow before? Yes, that's right. So everyone's been in the flow, and consequently, everyone's been out of the flow as well. So the flow is this amazing place where things get done at record speed, where you can even speed up your learning. You guys are familiar with you have to work 10,000 hours to become a master at something. Theoretically, you could actually, if you were in the flow the whole time, work 5,000 hours at the thing and speed up your learning of mastery of it. Now, I don't recommend trying that because I think 10,000 hours is better than 5. You know, the more time you spend with something, the more intimate you're going to be with it. I think process is something that we shouldn't try to hack our way out of because it's beautiful. The process for us as artists is what pays us consistently, right? I mean, as a musician, you're always working, waiting for your check to come in. And, you know, there's very few people who can work as a creator and get consistently paid a lot of money for their work. But with the flow and being in the flow, that's our payoff, right? I like to say that the process and being in the flow in the process is the art that the artist gets to enjoy. And the product of that process is the art that the people get to enjoy. Anyone outside of yourself when you share it with them. So it's really beautiful to be in a place like this where it's just nothing but people who spend hours and hours, a whole lifetime with their own process. And then they come together and they see, wow, there's other people that are in solitude a lot, working on something, and they completely get it. Like, we've gone inward to be more familiar with the people outward. And it's really beautiful. So I wanted to share with you guys some techniques about how to best kind of stay in the flow. And when you fall out of the flow, a good way to understand why you're out of the flow is to understand that you're probably in your head. And I'd like to show you guys how to get out of your head the best way I found, and that's by getting into your body. But before I do that, I want to show you what the flow looks like for me. This was taken, I don't know how long ago. You can see the footage is really old. Couldn't even find the real footage. I had to grab it off YouTube. But that's what the flow looks like for me. Now, I didn't start out doing that. I didn't start out performing. I started in my bedroom in a small town in Pennsylvania, just working in the studio. Now, in the studio, I found the flow all the time. I found a lower flow state than what that gave me, but I was totally immersed in what I was doing, excited about what I was doing, and creating in a really awesome way. It wasn't really awesome music that I was creating at first, obviously, but I got to making better music for sure, at least music that I like. And it wasn't until I moved away to go to school in Orlando, Florida, where I currently live, where I started to take my studio tools out of the studio and started taking them on stage, pretty much as a means to an end. I didn't want to burn a CD, and we were pretty much performing in my bedroom studio anyway with my group, Soliloquist of Sound, that I started in Orlando. So it just made sense. Like, we're performing in this house studio. Let's just take this stuff and do the same thing we're doing here and take it on stage. And I did exactly that. I had an MPC at the time, and I used to set it on a table and sit down and play. And we had a weekly event called Vocalization where I would kind of improvise for 6 hours straight, just making beats up on the spot. And that was really cool. And that's kind of where I cut my teeth as a performer. It wasn't until my wife, who's back there somewhere, she said, you know, you look, I wish I had video footage of this, but you look really weird sitting down, going like this, you know. I want you to stand up. And she said, maybe try getting rid of the chair. And I was like, all right, you know, I tried it out. And that's when that started to happen. Seizures, right? So thank you to my wife for giving me seizures on stage. It's changed my career, it's changed my life. And I mean that sincerely because this was way better than anything I was doing in the studio. When I found the energy of performing, the context of the stage, it was like nothing I had ever felt before. It gave me, oh man. Just think about this. In the studio, you can pine away at something, you can work at it, you can be like, okay, yeah, that snare, I need to try out 20 million snares before I decide on one. You could work weeks, days, months. I've worked on tracks for years. But on stage, everything happens in real time. You know? There's this feeling of, well, I have to make this on the spot. I have to hit this snare on time, or else I miss an opportunity and it's going to be off beat. Now, on stage, there's this kind of, everyone has an impulse to do something, and then there's the action that happens to service that impulse. And on stage, there's just the shortest distance possible between these 2 points. Math people, what's the shortest distance possible between 2 points? A line. Gold star. So, my impulse, straight line to action. In the studio, it's a lot different. Impulse, yeah, I want to make this beat. Do I have time? I need to find the right sound first. Is my family all right? Okay, cool. I'm hungry. And I need some tea, you know. Man, this is sounding pretty good. This is cool. No, it doesn't sound too good, you know. And I'm hungry again. Cole knows what I'm talking about. And it's just all these deviations from impulse to action. On stage, no time for that. There's a risk involved. It's exciting. Just like the exciting, frantic putting together my stuff and then taking it out on that. But then there's also this payoff, this immediate reward. You know, in the studio, you work and work and work and work and work and work. With Soliloquist of Sound, we put out a trilogy of albums that took 10 years to make. And I wrote a whole book that I kept in secret about how the artwork was hiding the message that we were trying to share with people. And I kept it secret, and then we put it out, you know, 10 years later. And there wasn't exactly like the same feeling of like, man, I'm working on this amazing thing, blah, 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 and you put it out, and then it's just like, whoop, you drop it down a well, and you just wait to hear, you know? And that can get tiring, but on stage, it does not get tiring. It's just wah, 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 wah. And that is my most extreme version of the flow. The thing that I found even more so than that, than all of those things, was I found freedom on stage. Not just creative freedom, but freedom, like the most high version of freedom I've ever felt. So much to the point where I'm not even really concerned what people think about the music I make. I actually don't think that the music I make is as good as what I'm showing you on stage. Because what I'm showing you on stage is an exhibition of freedom. I just make music to make me dance so you guys can watch. Because when I dance, you're seeing what a free person looks like. And I can say that knowing it's true because it's such a spiritual experience that, you know, I have the utmost confidence in saying that that is the best thing I have to show you. And I really want people to see freedom and see what it looks like, because that's what's going to get them to go back home and try to get as open as me. Some people say, I need to throw my drum machine away after seeing you. But I'm like, no, keep going, or find whatever instrument you like and just go for it, because you're missing the point. The point is, I feel it, and I don't care if you feel it. It's awesome when you do, though. It's really cool. So all of this not only helped me creatively, not only helped me in my life, but when I started performing, that's when we started seeing the most success. Started touring the world. Got signed to the biggest independent record label in the States at the time, putting out albums. People are calling me the Jimi Hendrix of the MPC. All these things are really cool. And I'm like, ah, man, I never planned for this when I was just rocking out in my bedroom in Wilmsdorf, Pennsylvania, you know? And that kind of got to my head. It's like, okay, I'm the Jimi Hendrix of the MPC now. Well, I can't, this cool new thing, Ableton, came out. I can't really use that because then, you know, it's not the MPC. It's going to be hard to transition from Jimi Hendrix of the MPC to Jimi Hendrix of Ableton. So I was like, I won't use that, you know? And plus, I'm doing all this stuff that the MPC is not meant to do. And if there's a computer up on stage, like, everyone's going to think, yeah, the computer's doing it all. He's doing all these cool things. And you know, basically I was getting in my head. You know, I became creatively bipolar, and my art definitely mimics my life. And I started my studio work just took longer and longer to do. My stage was great, and my career was still going, but I was not happy. I was driving myself crazy with just ridiculous commentary in my head and things that I was trying to hold myself back from doing, just to kind of meet this thing that I gained from not thinking about that type of stuff. We forget that. As a kid, you stumble into what you love, and you use the fuel from what you love, and it takes you places you could have never thought to go. But then, you think, just like a record label thinks, man, this is really good stuff. We need to take this, make a formula out of it, regurgitate it, make more of it, and capitalize on the success. Our brain does the same thing. It says, man, this is really good. Let me think. Pow. And that's when I really, during the creation of our second album, I was just really starting to just lose the motivation and forget why I was doing what I was doing. And it was at that time that I remembered my first language. Now, to tell you about my first language, I have to tell you about my dad. My dad, incredible martial artist, and he started teaching me martial arts before I could even walk, before I could talk. And so this was my initial language. And because of that, it was a reference for every other language I learned afterwards, including music. All my music theory, you know, I'm not trained in music just by experience, but everything I drew from martial arts. And it was at that time I hadn't done it for 10 years. Even though I've done it my whole life, I hadn't done it for 10 years because I was so focused on music, and I was going deeper and deeper into this hole of my mind, of like, I need to keep working on this, and I found myself not living at all. And it was at that time, I don't know if it was my body saying, you need to get up, stop looking at the screen, get out of your head and practice martial arts, or if it was the fact that my dad, who was stationed overseas at the time because the war was going on, was over there and I needed to like bond with him, but he wasn't around. I don't know what it was, but I started practicing martial arts again. I actually started teaching martial arts because no one I knew what I knew, so I had to teach people, so I had to have people to practice with. So I got all my friends, and we started teaching. I started teaching in my backyard, and then I took it to an actual dojo and started teaching there. And all of a sudden, I'm happy again. Like super happy. As happy as I feel on stage. I'm like, whoa, wait a second. What is going on? What is the similarity between what's going on here and what's going on stage? And I started to look at what I was teaching my students for an answer. And, I had some rules with my students. Number one rule, leave your head at the door. Why? Because you're not going to, if you ever have to use this, God forbid, in a situation where you have to defend yourself, you don't have time to think. These deviations between impulse and action will get you killed. Just quite literally killed. You need to react with a startle flinch reflex, the type of reflex that if you were ever to get in a car accident, you go like that. You don't think about doing that. My dad calls it brakes on your car because he would want to practice something because to him, the flow is the holy grail of martial arts, what he wanted to accomplish. And he would say, practice this, until it's like brakes on your car. How many people in here drive or have driven? Okay. Really? Public transit, gotta love it. Bike riders, gotta love it. Fantastic, bravo to you. Okay, so there's brakes on your bikes too, so this works as well. America, we need to catch up with y'all. So somebody said, yeah, we do. So brakes on your car, brakes on your bike, brakes on whatever. If something pulls out in front of you, it just happens. And that's before any thought, impulse to action. It's actually like impulse and action are one. And that's why I say leave your head at the door, because it could get you killed if you use your head. I want to show you guys the first beat I ever made. I need a volunteer to do that. Right? Okay, good. Now, have you practiced martial arts before? Come on the stage. Yes? No?
Yeah.
You have?
Actually, yeah.
Okay, what do you practice?
I used to do taekwondo.
Taekwondo, perfect, because we're not using our feet. So I want to show you guys the first beat I ever made. And this is a drill called single sinawali. My dad taught me this. It's Filipino martial arts. I'm half Filipino. My dad's Filipino. And this is how we bonded. This is what we did. And do you make music as well?
In a way, I pretend well.
You pretend well. So you know how to keep a beat. You know how to keep a beat.
Yes.
Your only objective here, keep the beat. That's it. Don't worry about the technique. It's actually kind of cool that you know martial arts because we're going to fight. No, we're not. I just love the look. Okay, let's go. I'm ready. He was ready, though. It was awesome. No, we're not going to fight at all. This is going to be really easy. I need you to be relaxed. And what we're going to do is just strike once here and strike the second one here. Now, that's the only moves you need to know. We're just going to do it with both hands. Okay? Beautiful. You see how he almost hit it the other way? He's almost doing it the other way, but keeping the beat. If I'm closing my eyes, I'm still hearing click, click. I'm still hearing that metronome. So this is the first beat I ever learned. My dad taught me this. And what we would do, we would run this down, we would walk, we would talk, we'd watch TV, talk about our day. This is how we bonded, but this is also how we gained the flow in martial arts. And this is what I started teaching my students. Sorry. I mean, you got to have some priorities. If something itches your nose and you're on stage and you think that it might be something there, you have to wipe. So just keep this going. I'm going to try something out. Okay, good. You kept the beat going. We missed the beat, but that's fine. When you miss a beat, you just miss it again, and it sounds like it's on purpose, right? So I'm going to try to mess you up a little. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You're doing so good. Woo! Good, good, good. Okay, we got to stop.
Have too much fun.
Okay. That's fun. You smell that? That's rattan. That's like smelling an old familiar smell. It brings back memories. It's like wood burning. So, let me put this down. So I would teach students this, and you were an awesome example. Give him another round of applause. I would teach students this, and they would get to a place where, like, I totally get it. And he was totally getting it. But then there's a part where you slow down. And then you go like that. And that's when Bruce Lee would have hit you. Because it's almost like you're literally looking inside of your head for the answer, and the answer's not there. The answer's in your body. So this is what I learned from being on stage, from being a martial artist, from teaching it, and from learning it, is that, man, the head will get you killed. Being up in your head will get you killed. And it'll kill your creativity too. So I had to develop a reflex that anytime I felt resistance, which is the opposite of flow to me, I would have to assume I must be in my head. And then I started to use that as a way of like a red flag. And you can do this too. Anytime you're working, anytime you're doing anything where you want to be in the flow and you're not in the flow, just assume you're resisting because you're in your head. Now the flow needs to flow, man. That sounded very hippie-ish right there. It's got to flow, man. But it can't flow if you put the dam up here and then all of it gets trapped in here. If you trap the flow up here, you're just going to drown in thought. You guys know what this feels like, right? Yes? Okay. So you have to open that dam. And the easiest way to get out of your head is to get into your body. I'd be working in the studio and I'd be trying to figure out the next chord, the next thing that I was going to play. And I just couldn't find it. I've had the chord I wanted, but I couldn't find the next chord. And I don't have any like musical training per se, besides just experience. Which, I'm not saying that that's not valuable, but oh, that's nice. But what would happen is I kind of got ahead of myself because I practiced this so much that like now all my reflexes just get me to a place of finding what I want. I tried to play the wrong note actually, and this is why I call this free your fingers, free your mind. Because when you get out of your head and you delegate some of this attention and focus into your actual limbs, into your body, you break the dam and you allow flow to happen. And if you're taking some of the focus away from here and putting it here, it's the easiest and fastest way to get out of your head. In my class, what I would do is when they would start going like this, I'd either hit them, because that gets you out of your head really quick, or if they weren't getting it even then, I'd tell them to do the DiViNCi shake, which is basically like what I do on stage anyway, and I'd say, go like this. Everyone do that real quick. Cool. See, I would do it to them, and they'd be like, no, I get it. I'd be like, no, literally do this. And when they did that, as soon as they came back, they had it. It's like, why does that happen? Well, that happens because, like Bruce Lee said, you have to have your cup empty, Your cup is full, and you won't let go of what's in the cup. So shake it out, But what really is happening is you're getting out of your head, and you're shaking some of that tension loose and putting it back in your fingers. So how this looks in the studio is I start playing like a baby. My baby's here, actually. She's sleeping. So be quiet. No, I would start playing like a baby. I should show you a clip of that. She plays this and she goes, you know. So I basically learned from her how to play. And the reason I play like a baby and I just start hitting whatever, because that's when I find what I'm looking for. It's not when I try to look in my head. I have this student of mine and she names her tracks such crazy things. They're really phonetic things. It'll be like E, I, Y, E, capital O, little o, 0, 0, 0, W, T. No, W, B, L, right? She'll name something like that. And I remember she sent me one of her tracks and I'm just like, 45 seconds go by and I'm just still like this. And I'm like, eyeball? Oh, eyeball, right? And it reminded me of something. For you guys who render to audio, because it's a helpful thing in your process to render to audio, that's exactly what I just did. I rendered it to audio, and then all of a sudden it was a solid thing. Up here, it's this ethereal thing. We're in session mode up here. Anything is possible. But when you're able to put it in a range and arrange it and put it into audio, then it becomes a thing. You can share it with other people. Now, I'm not saying one is better than the other. I love both in the metaphor and in Ableton. But you have to get to a point where you balance it out. It can't just be here. You have to bring it out here too. And when I started doing that, I just started playing random notes. That's what I found it. It's funny because we as people aren't really set up to trust ourselves, right? Even like using randomizer plugins, like why use a randomizing plugin before you just randomly hit stuff yourself? Now, there's definitely uses for that. There's definitely uses for randomizing plugins. There's a lot of uses, but I know some people that use it because they're so, rigid about what they're doing. There's a bigger part of yourself that and I literally mean a bigger part of yourself, not this thing, but all of you, that you can tap into to get more into the flow. I actually want to get to some questions, and then I want to perform a little something, like totally improv for you guys. So, what questions do you have for me about this?
Can you play, please?
Can I play, please? Yes. Does anybody have questions before I get all sweaty? Because this is something that inevitably can get you to trust yourself, a bigger part of yourself. I said we don't often trust ourselves. The most confident people in music are gospel singers. They give their praise to a higher power. But I'm saying no matter what you believe in, you can give praise to a bigger power than this. And it's a spiritual experience when you just let go and you get into your body and out of your head. So I'm going to just create a new scene here. Done. And let's see what happens. Okay, now, that could be really embarrassing, right? But it's not. And I'll tell you why, because I know what happened. I'm having, this is all, American equipment. So I think there's an issue with low voltage and it's making things cycle. But because of that, I don't know. I think that's a good place to stop. I was just about to get there too, How do I balance creative self-expression with commercial expectations? I resort to this thing that I know is true. Before, commercial expectations were more of a thing, but time and time again, it's proven that when people follow their own unique voice, which by doing this you will find, not just by performing, but by getting out of your head and trusting yourself, when you follow your own unique voice, it's proven that you get a better chance of making it in the industry anyway. I mean, it's 50-50 regardless. It's a gamble, let's be honest. What's gonna hit at the right time and all that type of stuff. But you're much better off gambling if the odds are in your favor, and the odds are only gonna be in your favor if you're consistent about it. The only true way to success, the only true way to mastery of anything that you do is you don't keep leveling up on how you approach what you're doing. That just happens as a byproduct of loving to practice. You need to love the practice of what you're doing in order for it to click, in order for it to keep going. Consistency is the only true way to success because you're going to keep buying lottery tickets if the industry is something that you want. But sooner or later, it's going to work out, and your chances are best if you just trust yourself and follow your creative voice. That's the same way I feel about stage. The best way for me to entertain you guys or to inspire you guys is to really tap into the place that gets me the most open. That's the best thing I have to show you guys. That's my voice. And the best thing that you have to show any commercial expectation is your true voice. And it's a backwards way to go the other way around. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. All right. Thank you guys for having me. Thank you for being here. Thank you to Ableton. You guys have changed my life. You've given me the tools that have helped me to really tap into that place. And I'm not gonna gush, I promise. Thank you guys, appreciate you. Thank you so much.